All right, hello everyone. I'm BMillzebub, and welcome to another Apostate interviews, the first of 2020. This is actually, I don't know, I've been looking forward to this. I haven't done one of these in a little while. But today I am talking to a pretty close friend of mine, Kirstin Opal. How you doing today, Kirstin?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm here. Much better than
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, much better than when I'm at work, but hey, that's a side effect of hating your job. But
Or just having one.
yeah, basically. So you don't give it much attention, or really any attention anymore, but could you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you used to do on it while you were still uploading?
It was I don't know if I ever had like a theme. It was just kind of like what I wanted to do. There was a series called Kirstin Tries, and that was where I would try weird or different things. So that was kind of fun. And there's a couple videos I kind of have on the back burner, but I don't know if I'm gonna like continue to pursue YouTube.
Well, I mean, like I said, when we were still offline, sometimes these interviews cause a small bump in subscribers for the interviewee. So maybe, you never know.
Hey, yeah, I'll take it.
All right, so let's jump into the meat of the interview. Can you tell us what your former religion was?
I would just say like Christian or like Baptist, maybe.
Kind of a boilerplate, not really denominational kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. The church that I had like the most experience in was, I think they claimed Southern Baptist, or at least that's where the pastor got his teaching from. So that's what I'm guessing.
So a little non-denominational and a little Southern Baptist, with a little bit of flair. All right.
Mm.
All right.
With a little bit of flair. Yeah.
Hey, I've seen a couple Southern Baptists. They can get a little rowdy. So what do you remember being, I don't know, the strangest thing about being Christian?
That's a good question. Maybe like ironically, like the blind faith. Like not questioning anything, and anything you did question was like justified. If that makes sense.
Yeah, strangely, I actually do know what you're talking about. I think pretty much everyone in the audience will get what you're talking about.
Or like, so there was a loss in my family recently, and a lot of the people are, bring God up when we talk about it, and it's like, this, why are you, I don't know, it just, some of the things that are justified just blow my mind now.
Yeah, I think everyone that leaves religion has that interesting experience.
Yeah.
Because eventually we will face, that kind of loss as an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difficult time if you're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, regardless it is, but there's been times where I've said to myself that, like, I wish I believed in something right now, because that would be much more comforting. But that's just, in my opinion, that's just kind of what it is. It's comfort because the lack of something after is too scary for the majority of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary concept,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. So you're pretty new to atheism? What is it that got you to start questioning being a Christian?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
It's definitely not one with a short answer.
No, I would say kind of like God, what is that is going to take me a second. Well, okay, so this kind of sounds like victim-y, but basically I was dealing with like a lot of mental health stuff and like years of it. And I realized like, okay, the Bible talks about like I'll never give you more than you can handle. I won't put you through anything like without a reason and all that stuff. And it got to the point where I'd keep praying for this or asking for healing and actually taking action on it, not just, oh, magically heal me and then just lay in bed all day. No, I did the work and I never saw any like result that like a divine being would have been involved in that wasn't like something I did myself. So that's kind of what started it. And then that allowed me to take like a step back and look at things in not such a, oh, what's the word for it? Not such a, I guess rose-colored glasses in a way, but like Christian version. What is the word I'm trying to say? Where you are, happens a lot in cults. Brainwashed.
There you go.
Like, I was able to step back and see things more clearly, and then as that was happening, like little things I'd start questioning and be like, well, if the Bible says this and this is what actually is happening and science, this doesn't make sense in the Bible then. Like it I don't know, it just didn't seem to apply. And then again with science, I kept learning more and more, and when I was roommates with Brandon and Elise, they taught me like a ton, and they actually helped me a lot in this process journey thing. Yeah.
Pretty cool of them to help you out.
Yeah, it was cool to like be able to like pick their brain and stuff, because like you said, I'm still new to it, and this was like a year ago when I was able to pick their brain and be like, well, okay, well, explain this. Like, okay, if God doesn't exist, then why does this happen? And Elise always like had like a valid answer, like that made sense. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. All right. So let's
crazy.
let's talk a little bit about the channel that you sort of abandoned. What got you to start making videos?
Oh, I've been doing video stuff since like 2008, probably. This is like my 5th channel. And in high school, I did like the school news and stuff like that. And I love editing. Like, if I could do that for a living, that'd be cool. I don't need to be in front of the camera. But yeah, I like to have an idea and see it executed, if that makes sense. I mean, you get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I basically exactly the same thing.
Yeah. You started in high school and stuff too?
Oh God, no. I I didn't edit my first video until a month or two after I started my channel, because I had no knowledge of how to edit video, so I would just record everything in one shot and then
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah, trim off the edges with this free video editor that came on my computer. It looked bad.
And YouTube has built in too. I've never used it, but I don't know how good it is, but
yeah, I still haven't used it. I don't think I plan to.
Yeah, there's no reason to. What do you use now?
VSDC, free video editor.
I don't know if I've heard of that one. I have a Mac, so I probably have not heard of it.
Yeah, it's not Mac compatible, so
yeah.
It's not an option to you unless you get a Windows.
I'm good. Oh, boy.
But yeah, so you mentioned series on your channel called Kirstin Tries. Would it be safe to assume that's the favorite thing of yours you've done with your channel, or?
I think favorite would be like something I put the most like work into, and like there's this video, I don't know if it's still public, but I think it's called My People, and it was actually about if you remember Dee Dee, it was about Dee Dee, Brandon, and Elise, and I finally felt like I kind of like found my, village, or whatever the wording would be. So I made a video about that, and there's some editing things that I kind of took a shot at, and I didn't know if I could do it, and I was winging it, and I really liked how it turned out, so that would probably be my favorite video. But yeah, the Kirstin Tries thing is pretty cool. For someone who doesn't like failing in front of people, it's kind of a weird thing to do.
Yeah, I remember watching some of those. They looked pretty fun, actually.
Okay, good. I get so embarrassed when somebody's like, I've watched your videos. I'm like, I'm sorry.
See, I have exactly the opposite reaction. I'm like, of course you watch my videos. They're good.
I need
Now
that.
they're good, but the old ones.
Send me that confidence.
You can have some of it. I've got plenty to spare.
Thank you.
It's one of those instances in life where my cup runneth over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Ironically, to this conversation. That's the other thing I've noticed when we're filming is this tattoo is showing, and I wish I didn't have this. And I have a couple other Christian ones, and I'm like, crap. Now I gotta spend more money on covering them up. And it's like, the word you see is God. And it's like, crap. Shoot. Just wear scarves and turtlenecks my whole life.
Well, I mean, what does the whole tattoo say? I don't remember.
It says let God work, but the let go, oh my gosh, mirrored. Okay, the let go is in a different color. So there's that. And then I have my name and the meaning of my name in Hebrew on my forearm, and the meaning of Kirstin is follower of Christ. So that's on me forever.
Well, I mean, if you look at my first name, Benjamin, I'm pretty sure translated to whatever language is at the right hand of God. So
right, yeah, a lot of names are like based on that, which is strange. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think the whole goal was just like filleting your imaginary friend's ego, I guess.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I make a lot of fellatio jokes when I'm talking about God, especially the first 3 commandments in the 10 commandments. That's all they are.
I'd be lying if I said I knew what fellatio meant. I've heard it before, but I've heard it in I thought it meant something dirty.
Blowjob.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what are the 3 commandments? The first 3.
I am the Lord your God. You shall have no God before me is the first one. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, so no pictures, paintings, statues, any form of art.
Well.
And you shall not take the Lord thy God's name in vain. Or the first. I'm pretty sure I'm right on the 3rd one.
Were you raised Catholic?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It just showed.
That obvious, huh?
Yeah. I don't know the commandments, but I went to a mega church that was very, like you said, very flary. We advertised that we had a sound system that could power an AC/DC concert, or we'd give away brand new Mustangs to newcomers, put them in a drawing, Viking season tickets, all of that stuff. So very different than Catholic.
Yeah. The Catholic Church uses guilt to get you to stick around.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that too, but mostly material stuff.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that most Christians have no idea what the Ten Commandments are.
Yeah.
Not
like
a clue.
when you were listing them off and mentioned the like no statues or paintings, and in my head I'm like, humans as a whole screwed up on that. You know?
Especially the Catholic Church, actually.
Yeah. Hanging them everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
The Catholic Church doesn't actually have that as the second commandment.
What is it?
Oh, damn. I can't remember the...
They like replaced it with something?
I don't think they replaced... Oh, yeah, they replaced it with something. Hang on. Let me...
Or worded it differently?
Let me look this up really quick.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Catholic Ten Commandments. Okay, so the Catholic Ten Commandments are... Come on. Load, you stupid.
Even your phone doesn't want you to see it.
It doesn't. Okay, so the first commandment is... The second commandment is, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. And the third commandment is, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Now,
many Christians think it's Sunday.
yeah, it's actually Saturday, fun fact.
Right. Yeah.
Because the first day was Sunday, and, you know, God worked all the way through. All right.
Right. Oh my gosh, everything's mirrored and it's hard to adjust things. But yeah, there's a lot of things like that, like the Sabbath day or people thinking he was born on Christmas. I just shared this video to my Facebook. I watched it like 2 days ago, and it was so interesting about how many like deities in history were supposedly born on December 25th, born of a virgin. There was like 3 wise men, all of like this stuff. Like Jesus was not the only one who has like a history with that. So that was really, really interesting.
Not even close to the first. In fact, Jesus is one of the last to have those origin stories.
Yeah. I was going to say you should watch the video, but it sounds like you're already knowledgeable on it.
Yeah, probably not the specific video you're talking about, but definitely the references made in it. Yeah, I've got a little familiarity with that.
Yeah, it was all about how like way like in the beginning of times how people would praise the sun, like the actual sun sun, and how like when it would set in like, you know, mid-December or whatever, it represented death, and then it went into all of that, how like the sun was worshipped and so on. It was like a 10-minute video. But, stuff,
so I gotta know, how does it feel to, you know, be an atheist? You know, how long actually have you been an atheist?
I think, I don't know if there's like a coming out for atheism, but I made a public video like this spring, I think it was, because people had been asking for a video about like my belief in God since it's changed so drastically. And I actually filmed it 3 times before the final one. And in it, you know, I'm like, yeah, I still believe in God, but I just don't understand why X, Y, and Z happens in the world, or, you know, or if he's like this all-powerful being, why, you know, why does the enemy, Satan, whatever, exist? It's funny how that old lingo just comes up. But I didn't put any of them public because they didn't feel right. And then once I finally was like, wait, I don't actually believe in God anymore. I'm just trying to. because I was scared. I talked to Elise a lot about that. I was really, really scared to become an atheist because, like, what if I was wrong? You know? But now it's great. I love it. I can never see myself going back. And other than, you know, like I said, like the grief aspects, and there was a day like 2 weeks ago where I almost prayed for something and I was like, what am I doing? Like, still, old habits die hard apparently, but it feels good.
That's one of those things. I mean, for probably the first few months after I stopped believing in God, which was like a 2-year thing for me, trying to prove that God existed and ultimately failing. You know, for a while after I stopped believing in God, Catholics do this thing whenever they hear an ambulance drive by or something like that.
Yeah.
They do the sign of the cross. And for the first couple of months, I was like, hang on, I don't do that bullshit anymore. There's nothing to go, like, you're not sending your guardian angel or whatever after them, because there's no such thing.
Right.
But, you know, I'd find myself doing those kind of old habits. And,
yeah. Well, like, with that example, like, if I were to hear like an ambulance or something go by, I would think to myself, like, oh, I hope the doctors are capable and I hope it's not life-threatening. But I wouldn't, like, you know, put it to a being anymore. It's just like, oh, well, I hope they're okay. Fingers crossed, you know?
Yeah. In that case, that's literally all you can do is hope the doctor's confident and someone's not hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's pretty interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It's just one of those things that old habits dying hard.
Yeah. And when it's ingrained in you for so long, because that's what, like, Christianity or religion is. It's your life. I mean, I don't know about what it's like for anybody else, but for me, I was like deep in it. I volunteered and like worked for free at a church for a long time, like 40 to 60 hours a week sometimes. And when you're surrounded by that for so long, you know, it's hard to break out of that even years later.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any other habits that you still kind of catch yourself doing?
Well, okay. So when I was thinking about, like, oh, I wonder what we're going to be talking about during this, I knew I was going to bring this up at some point. Jacqueline Glenn. You guys in our old friend group, we're all fans of her. And at the time when I was Christian, I was like, ew, Jacqueline Glenn. Like, she's terrible. And now I'm like, literally her. So now it's kind of like I have to stop myself from almost the opposite habits. So my sister passed away recently, and when people are like, oh, like, she's with the Lord now, what I want to do is be like, shut up. No, she's not. Like, that doesn't help. And if she is, like, I'd rather have her here. And so being, like, kind of like sassy like that, and honestly bitter, for me personally, is a habit I'm trying to reel in a little bit. But for when it comes to, like, old habits I had then, no, not really. Not on the surface level. But there was, like, some abuse in the church and stuff, and from that I still have things that I'm working on because of that, if that makes sense. Like, habits from that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there actually is a pretty common thread that a lot of people who leave religion and become atheists go to, and part of that is anger.
I know that.
Yeah, it's almost like the 5 stages of grief, because I mean, you are, you know, not losing out, but you're leaving a pretty big, important part of your life behind.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, when it comes to the anger portion, it's not anger at the loss. It's more anger at, feeling lied to.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to like bop people on the head and be like, can't you see? But like, I've been on the other side. Like, so I get it. And I'm sure a lot of you probably do. People watching probably do. Like, you've been in their shoes and it's like, oh, I wish I could, like scrub off those like rose colored glasses or whatever. But yeah. And when it comes to like the grieving process, when you become an atheist, for me, I had to grieve my old self because I'm not her at all anymore. And so, yeah, there is a lot of bitterness that came with that. And like I said, I'm working on it.
Yeah. It'll take a while.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll work through it.
Yeah, I haven't been in a church in 6 years almost, which is crazy to me. That's crazy. Holy cow. I've never thought about that until now. Wow.
So do you think the lack of exposure might have something to do with it? Because you weren't, constantly going back and having it pushed on you, or
have something to do with what? Me becoming an atheist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have to lose, if you won't lose, a lot of friends because almost my entire friend group was from the church. So once I, started getting new friends, and I'm not saying I don't have any Christian friends, that's not true at all. But like once I started distancing myself from that and from like extremists, then yeah, it made it a lot easier to like actually think instead of like trying to think and then being like bombarded with like, oh no, you're wrong, God's got this, like it's all in his timing or his plan and you just can't see that because you're human. And it's like, you're wrong, but okay. There's the bitter again. It's showing through.
It's all right. It amuses me, honestly. I like it.
Yeah, and now I can watch Jacqueline Glenn and be amused instead of being like, she's so bitter, she needs to like get help. Like that's literally what I used to think, and then now I'm like, this girl's right on.
One of those, maybe she's earned the bit of bitterness she does have.
That's true too. I've never thought of it that way, but yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty bitter for a while. Still kind of am, actually. I don't know if that's ever going to go away. Yeah, because I spent the first 20 or 19 or 20 years of my life being told that this is factually true. So,
right.
Somewhere in the ballpark of half my life, literally.
Yeah, mine was
more than half.
6 years. So mine was probably like early 20s, kind of in the same realm. And I don't know if like you were raised Catholic or anything, but like I chose, like my parents weren't involved with my religion or choices like that at all. So it was very much like a decision, I guess. So I've had to come to terms with, okay, that was my decision and now this is my decision, And yeah, like you said, it might take 20 more years. Or it might never happen. Who knows?
So that's interesting. I don't know anyone. Were you a kid or when you chose to start going?
Like early middle school, I started going to actually a Catholic, what do they call it? Like youth group or whatever. It was on Wednesday nights. And I went because my best friend went and I just wanted to hang out with her. And that lasted for like 2 years. And then I went to a Lutheran youth group for a hot minute. My memory sucks, so forgive me. And then I started eventually going with that same best friend to a Christian one because a couple friends from driver's ed invited us to their church, and so we went to that, and that was really fun, but it was super cliquey. And I'm 14, 15, 16. And then eventually that church was bought out by the one that was like super culty, that I ended up leaving, that I have like all this trauma from. It's called The Crossing. I don't know if you guys like out people on your channel, but it's called The Crossing Church. And so it kind of, after like the beginning of middle school, it kind of just kept going.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't think I know anyone that young that decided for themselves to go, because I kind of had it pushed on me. I had to go to Sunday school.
Yes. See, I never went to that, I don't think. But like my sister growing up tried a handful of religions too, and I remember she was Pentecostal for a while, if you know much about Pentecost. But I just remember I went to church with her a couple times, and like women couldn't cut their hair, wear earrings, wear makeup, wear pants. You had to wear like skirts past your knees. You couldn't wear anything like that showed your elbows, kind of thing. And I just remember going like, this is a whack. Let's try something else, because this is not it. But so maybe she kind of inspired me, but I don't know. Now that you say that, I kind of always just automatically believed in God, and I don't know why. My parents never talked about it growing up. Yeah.
I think that might have had something to do with wanting to fit in, or
I think at first it was literally to hang out with that friend when I was going to the Catholic one. But then I think a bit of fitting in. It was my friends. I played music, so sometimes I was like in the band or doing, creative stuff, photography, videography within the church and stuff. So yeah, maybe fitting in, something to do. I don't know.
Well, that kind of flips a couple arguments I've heard from religious people on its head. You're just an atheist if you want to fit in. Actually, Kirstin here was a Christian because she wanted to fit in. That's
part of it. I wouldn't say that's like the root or anything, but yeah, it's part of it for sure. Especially going to churches that were so cliquey. Like you wanted to be the cool person that was on stage with the band or whatever. Like the Crossing, the church I left, like that helped me become an atheist, is what I like to say, was very like, the band was like so cool, and if you're friends with the band, you're so cool. And it's like, looking back on it, it's like, this is so stupid, like for a church. Like, oh boy. But yeah, fitting in was definitely, especially the Crossing, that was a big part of it. Yeah.
So I've got one more question for you. And what is it you think is the most difficult thing about Christianity for you to get past? Something like the fear of hell or sexual repression, something like that.
See, the Crossing was very like, have as much sex as you can. God loves sex. So it was very like opposite of that. But the hardest part for me to deal with now as an atheist, I would like just very bluntly say the hate. Like, I don't want anything to do with a religion or any group or anything that, suppresses any other group, whether that's LGBTQ, like women, people that don't fit in the little box. And that's very hard for me to accept that people still believe that, and people I know and have known very long. Like I was at dinner with somebody this like August, I think it was, and we were talking about like non-binary and stuff like that, and she mentioned like, oh, God made two genders, like it's not possible for non-binary people to exist. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you it is, because they do. Like, I don't care what you God did this. I'm telling you. And that could go into a whole other debate, not even talking about religion, but just like the lack of acceptance and like just, I don't know, they're mean. You know?
Yeah, the people shouting Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, that kind of thing.
I did that.
So did I.
Yeah.
I think most of us were there once.
My like 9th or 10th grade English class was speech and debate, and my debate was against homosexuality. And little did I know, I was in the closet and didn't even know it. Like, but, and I feel bad for that. And I wish I could just do a big apology that everyone I've ever come in contact with could see. Like, sorry for being a shitty human when I was a Christian, you know? Because I was.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I wasn't the Westboro Baptist, but, you know.
Oh, no. But, oof, those people are nuts.
Yeah, I've met them a couple times. I lived in Joplin, Missouri when a, like, massive tornado hit. And they came to our town and said, oh, God, let this tornado happen because you're FAG enablers. And I was like, yes, we are, girl. Okay. You know, but and then the next time they were actually banned from the cities. That was kind of cool. But it's like that is like the extreme version of what I don't like, but there are smaller, more casual versions of that like almost bother me more, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's probably because it's more subtle and less well advertised, but it's still there.
Yeah, just like the little non-binary comment, I was like, I think our friendship just ended right now, you know, because I was like, I can't like fathom somebody thinking like that. I don't know, but that's the other thing. Since becoming an atheist, I'm very, very picky with who I've kept in my life in the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more picky now. Of course, my Christian friends at the time were the really picky ones when I came out as atheist, because wow, did I lose a lot of friends.
Yeah, seriously. Gosh. I remember when I left the crossing, I like made a Facebook post about it, and I specifically said, like, I know I'm going to lose friends over this, and that's like kind of screwed up, you know, that a Christian would have to be worried about that, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of what I just said reversed for myself, you know?
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm not really sure what to say, because it's one of those things that pretty much everyone goes through, you know. It's like, okay, I'm not religious anymore. Oh, okay, I want nothing to do with you. It's like, is this that Christian love that I was spouting off so much about for years, and suddenly I'm not one of you anymore, so I need to be shunned? Okay.
What you just said made me think of this. I was best friends with this person for a long time, and it was a really toxic friendship. But I remember at one point he said, if you're not Christian anymore, I can't be friends with you. And that still like echoes to me, because I'm like, you're a shitty person. Like, I don't know. But that's just what that made me think of. And I don't know if I've skimmed a lot of your interviews like this, but I've only watched like 2 fully. And I don't know if many other people have said this. I'm not going to like bring it up to a deep extent, but like when I left the church, I also like had to think about like my political point of views too, because that changed as well, because I wasn't so conservative anymore. So it's like that's part of that grief process too, is like That's what I meant when you, like, I kind of had to die to myself because I'm a totally different person now, and I would not change it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my political beliefs changed too, but that was a much slower process.
Same.
My conservatism died a much slower death. But yeah, it's
It makes sense that it happens because your beliefs change. So a lot of the things like you supported, you might not support anymore. Or you might support other things. I was super against Planned Parenthood, and now I'm like, hell yeah, I donate to them. So it's weird how things change.
yeah. Yeah, when I was Catholic, I never would have supported them, but now I'm just like, oh no, they need to keep doing what they're doing. It's kind of important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Funny, I actually had a friend of mine say that he wouldn't want something to exist if it was 3% evil, because like 3% of what Planned Parenthood does is abortion services. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you want the U.S. military gone.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? Well, okay, let's take a look at some of the targets the U.S. military hits. We hit a lot of schools and hospitals. There's a lot of collateral damage. And I kind of hate breaking, human lives down to, collateral damage, but that's the most succinct way to put it.
Yeah.
We cause a lot of massive devastation. In fact, Iran just, put us on our military on their terrorist group watch list. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people, especially over in the Middle East, that think we are terrorists because, well, I mean, what else do you call someone who kicks in your door in the middle of the night looking for somebody?
Yeah, I read something. I'm not gonna quote it because I don't know the exact numbers, but it talked about how the media here tells us that 400 soldiers died during this raid or this attack or something, which is devastating, but the media doesn't cover the 20,000 civilians that we killed. So kind of what you're saying, it's like, yeah, and a lot of that, like the 3% evil or whatever, the media doesn't show that stuff for a lot of things, whether it's the military or celebrities or sex trafficking or all of this. There's a port in Duluth, Minnesota. It's a few hours north of me, and people go and watch these big ships come in, and it's like this huge spectacle. And many people don't know that there's kids underneath those, I can't think of the hold or whatever it's called, but yeah, we don't know about a lot of the evil. So there's a lot more evil than we think, and what one person considers evil, like this guy considers Planned Parenthood, others wouldn't. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, and watch my subscriber count fall after that little discussion.
Why? Because of the military stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to, talk in those kind of relative terms, if you actually give that line of logic consideration, the U.S. military is considerably more evil than Planned Parenthood.
Right. Right. I hope your subscriber count doesn't fall, but if that's what makes it happen, we're kind of better off without them, in my opinion.
Yeah, chances are it won't actually be very affected, but a lot of my subscribers agree with me on a lot of different topics. But so real quick before I let you go, I think I want to have you plug your channel anyway, do a little bit of self-promotion, see if your subscriber count goes up and maybe motivates you to make videos again.
Okay, well, my channel is Kirstin as wait, where are we? As seen right there. Kirstin and then Opal, Opal. And I mean, you can go there. I'm not driven by like subscriber counts or something, but I do have a couple videos on the back burner that I should probably make. It's also good for my mental health to make stuff too. But other than that, like I guess my Instagram, which is the same name, and I post a lot of stuff on my stories there about like my history with the church and my thoughts now and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you'll all be able to find links in the description to her YouTube, her Instagram, her Twitter, which is pretty well left alone, actually. I think
it's because I notice I only go every time I've ever had a Twitter, I only go there to complain. And I'm like, this isn't good. Who wants to follow somebody that's just negative all the time? So that's why I don't really go on there anymore.
That's fair.
But you can follow me there if you like complaining. Oh,
well, thanks for coming on and doing an interview. I had some fun with it.
Yeah, I'm glad it finally happened. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, I've been trying to do this for like 4 months. And
I was going to say it's like a year, but yeah, no, that makes more sense. Because I haven't been an atheist for a year, so. But yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I didn't offend anybody too much.
You'll be fine.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this one, everybody. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. Head over to Kirstin's channel and subscribe. You will enjoy her Kirstin Tries videos. They are entertaining.
Thank you.
But yeah, take it easy, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Bye.